Hey guys, welcome back to another knife review. Today we are going to be looking at the Pilar Large in D2 steel, the all blackout version. Pretty sweet knife. I liked the original Pilar, so when I saw they were, giving it a little bit of an upgrade in size, also adding flipper deployment, I was interested to say the least. So we are going to go ahead and take a look at the specs of the CRKT Pilar Large. All right, guys, so taking a look at just the quick specs that I personally care about. Looking at a blade length of about 2 5/8 inches. It's a flat ground D2 tool steel blade. It's like a Warncliffe style. Pretty nice. Stainless steel frame lock with a G10 show side. Pocket clip is only right hand carry, but tip up, tip down reversible. This is Teflon washers, so no bearings, no phosphor bronze. Weight on it is 3.8 ounces. And blade thickness is about, for rounding, just a teensy bit up, 0.15 inches. So it's just under the 4mm mark. And yeah, you get the thumb hole deployment or the flipper tab. So yeah, quick specs on it. Quick specs out of the way. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the blade first. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and take a look at the blade on this guy. Blade is super similar, almost identical, I would say, to the original Pilar, which got one right here for comparison. If you match it up pivot to pivot, they are not a huge amount different. You can kind of see, I mean, there's a little bit of length difference going on there, but not a huge amount. Overall it doesn't look like a huge difference, but it's surprising just how much that little bit could affect just the overall performance and basically, essentially everything about the knife is changed by just a little bit of size. But a couple things that I want to touch on that are kind of improved over the original version, and this is about this particular variation. I'm not quite sure how it stacks up against with the satin versions, but one of my criticisms about the original Pilar was the thumb hole was super sharp. I did touch it with a file just to ease it down a little bit because it was almost like it was not finished all the way. Like it was just freshly machined and they didn't, finish just the edges at all. So just purely based on, the process of coating the blade, it's not so bad. I would say it's definitely in an acceptable range. So not too sharp, but you get, a really good amount of grip there. So nicely done. One improvement already out of the way. As far as just the blade and everything, of course, a little bit of extra length is good. If you don't like how small the original Pilar is, because it's pretty small. It just hits that sweet spot. It's still a smaller blade, so don't expect to have, the glorious like 3 to 3 1/4 inch range, but it's still compact. You're still going to get a lot of control just because your hand is so far up on the blade. It's just very utilitarian. You could tackle a lot of different cutting tasks. It's almost perfect. I don't want to feel like I'm asking for too much here, but if it was just even a hair, just a little bit longer, I feel like it would have been 10 out of 10 perfect, but this is still, size difference here is pretty significant difference, even though it doesn't seem like that much. Other improvements, of course, the D2 steel, it's just going to hold an edge better. It's going to perform better in almost every category, except maybe in the corrosion resistance category. But this being the only variation that has the D2 steel, it's the black coated blade. So for, I would say, probably more casual knife owners, it's going to alleviate that issue. Most, hardcore knife guys, I'm sure, take care of their blades to a little bit higher of a degree. So if it was satin, it wouldn't be an issue probably to most of us watching right now. I would have preferred a satin blade option, but that's not the case. So it is what it is. I'll take the black coated blade if it means getting a better blade steel any day of the week. So not a huge issue there. Yeah, I would say that about covers it for the blade. Like I said, not a whole lot going on different than the first Pilar, but it's enough for a noticeable difference. The biggest difference being blade steel. So very welcome change. Getting us blade stuff out of the way, now let's go ahead and take a look at the handle. All right, guys, so taking a look at handle of the blade here. I really hate to keep comparing it to the original Pilar, but it's hard to do that, and mainly because it is the direct successor to this knife. Not to say that it replaces it, but with this already being such a popular and renowned knife model, it's hard not to compare the two. But at least in this case, the comparison is more positive for the Pilar Large. With the original Pilar, you still get full 4-finger grip thanks to the large finger choil. So the original, the ergonomics are great. It's taken to the next level on the Pilar Large. So you get even more space. So you're not quite feeling like you're just almost out of space. It's almost, my pinky is just right there where it's not about to fall off, but I'm thinking to myself, it's not, when you hold it, if you have one of these, you kind of know, you just wish you had just that little bit extra. You just get a lot more peace of mind with a little bit of extra handle here. So when you're holding the Pilar Large, it feels so comfortable, and you get a little bit more peace of mind knowing that you have a very secure grip on the knife. So very comfortable, molds to your hand really well. It's great. I can't really say enough about how well the ergonomics are here. At least, for me in my hands, I would say this is like as close to perfect as you can get. Honestly, if I was to rate it out of 10, it would be a 9.5 out of 10. I don't know if perfect will ever exist just because everybody's hands are different, but I can't imagine there are very many hands out here that this won't feel amazing in. So there's that. The G10 lightens up the knife quite a bit. I know there were G10 variants of the original Pilar, but in a lot more limited of quantity. At least in this case, it is standard. So, I like the look of the G10 anyways. It lightens up the knife. I like the feel of it better than an all stainless steel. So, no downsides for me personally with G10. If you think you're sacrificing strength, switching from stainless steel to G10, I don't really know what to say to you, because I can't imagine what you're doing with this knife would make it fail, the G10 fail over stainless steel. So if that's what you're worried about, you're either doing the wrong thing with your knife. Don't worry about it, straight up. Stainless steel side is just fine. For mine, it almost feels like the lock bar has just barely enough pressure to engage the lock far enough. If I have the blade deployed and I even go just to gently touch on the lock bar, I feel it start to move over already. No blade play or anything, but that's like the only thing that I'm really concerned about. I wouldn't say I'm concerned, but I noticed it and it doesn't make me feel particularly good. So while there's no problems, there's just that thought looming in the back of my head that that lock bar just barely has enough tension to it. Otherwise, works just fine. The lock engages far enough, so you can kind of peek through there and see that a little bit. So even if there is just a touch of movement, if there is, the lock is engaged enough to, make me feel comfortable enough using it in whatever situation comes up. Aluminum backspacer. It's got that black anodized or coating. I think it's anodized. Just 2 body screws and a lanyard hole. Lanyard hole is nothing super special. I've made it pretty apparent on my channel so far. It's not something that I'm really into, but I've seen better lanyard holes. If you're going to have one on there, I feel like that could have been a little bit better executed, I guess. It just looks hole punch done, but it is what it is. Pocket clip, like I said, reversible, tip up or down, right hand only. I kind of like the pocket clip. It's very simple. The thing that I really love about it is it's set into the handle right there. You can see, it doesn't look the best, having that blank space there. But the fact that, it's not ever going to wiggle side to side, plus for me, I'm down for it. Pocket clip doesn't come up really enough to snag on anything. It looks like it juts up kind of far, but it's still laying low enough on the knife that you don't feel it as a hot spot when it's in hand, which again adds to the crazy ergonomics of this knife already, but I haven't snagged it on anything, so plus for me, my curse of pocket clips. So yeah, that about does it for the handle. Enough talking about that. So let's go ahead and talk about action and fit and finish. All right, guys. So taking a look at the fit and finish. Fit and finish looks great to me as far as like the manufacturing goes. Maybe a little bit of difference between handle and backspacer, but honestly, it's not too bad. Biggest thing you'll notice is with the stainless steel, you can see it kind of comes in there a little bit, almost like that piece was like stamped out rather than cut on that side. Or maybe it's just from the sandblasting to apply the black coating that rounded the edge a little bit. Not a huge deal, but when you really take a close look at it, you can kind of notice it, so worth mentioning. The action of the knife is pretty good. If you like using the thumb hole opening, it works great. I love it. Just the little bit of extra length it gives, you get a lot more leverage against the thumb hole. So, flipping it with the thumb is effortless and pretty satisfying feel to it also. Flipper tab also works very well. Took a few days of messing with mine to get it super smooth. Took this whole thing apart and cleaned it and re-oiled it, and then just messed with it until it started breaking in real nicely. We'll say it's super smooth now. One of the problems that I had was the pivot backing out, so I had to when I took it apart to clean it, blah blah blah. That was the main point of concern there, so I had to Loctite it. Not a big deal. Disassembly was easy. Reassembly was a complete pain in my ass. Oh my god. Had a hell of a time just because this side is the D shape, and so of course it D shapes into the stainless steel side. Obviously not into the G10 just because the stainless steel is harder. So when you're reassembling the knife, you got to put this in, or, if it's already in and you're, pushing it through the blade to meet the other side, you have to get it like spot on, because there's not a lot of really, really tight tolerances on this side with the D shape. So the first couple times I reassembled it, the D wasn't quite lined up, so there was space right in there. Yeah, I had a hell of a time lining that up for some reason. Maybe it's just mine, but yeah, reassembly was not fun at all. But ended up getting it to work out. It paid off. Blade is centered. There's no blade play. No blade play at all. And flips great now. So problem solved in the end. All is well. Just sitting here cursing away trying to get this thing back together, but it's all good. Yeah, other than that, detent on it. So detent is interesting because the knife does flip well. The detent is almost too light. I mean, you still get more than enough to flip the blade if it's pretty well broken in, but I still feel like for a flipper it's almost light. It's just barely enough, but still gives you enough to flip it pretty reliably. Again, once it's broken in. At the beginning it wasn't so much, but now it's good. So yeah, action, fit, and finish, pretty good, I would say. I wasn't sure what to expect with this being a flipper. Wasn't sure if it would quite pan out well, but looks like they were able to nail it. So now let's go ahead and take a look at final thoughts, and we'll shut it down. All right, guys, so here are my overall thoughts. Miscellaneous comments at the end, as always. I really enjoy the CRKT Pilar Large. Lots of very welcome improvements over the original. Like I said, this does not outright replace the original. Because this is a little bit more compact, I feel like it serves the smaller EDC a little bit better. But if you like the size a little bit better, and like I said, definitely the blade steel, huge plus, this is going to be your guy. So, maybe this could fit the role of a main EDC blade, while this could still fit a kind of like a companion blade or like a backup, good backup. But yeah, this definitely, the larger, there's just the little bit of length in blade and handle make a pretty big difference. Enough for me personally to pick this over the original in most cases. Flipper works well, blade steel's better. All blackout if you like that kind of stealthy, kind of tactical look. But yeah, for me, the fact that they nailed the flipper and the D2 blade steel with the slight advantages in length make this a big time winner. So kudos to CRKT and Jesper for mostly Jesper for taking his original design and improving on it significantly. This one hit it out of the park. So good job to you guys. As always, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you're new or haven't done so already and you're back again. Hit the Instagram link down in the description below as well, just to check out some cool pics and knives and some behind the scenes shots. And that about wraps it up. So we'll catch you guys on the next one. Thank you.